Um, Hi, everybody.
Hi,
My name,
everybody. I'm here with Elisa Ackerly, who is running for the 82nd in North Palm Beach at the House of Representatives, the Florida House of Representatives. Welcome, Elise.
thank you.
We're so happy that you're here. So I think we could start off, since we really don't know that much about you. Who are you and why are you running?
Hi, everybody. I am happy to be here. I want to thank you for the invite. My name is Elisa Ackerly. I am running, as you said, District 82 here in the state of Florida. I am a wife, a mother, a daughter, a sister, and a third generation native Floridian. And I my parents moved over to the Bahamas in a beginning of our family network. We spent quite a few years over there. In the early 1970s, they came back here to the United States, and right here in District 82. So I spent my childhood, the rest of my childhood, growing up through the school system here and meeting everybody. And soon as after we moved here, my parents had realized that I had fallen in love with horses. So my parents got me a horse, and I spent the rest of my life around horses and animals, and set me down the path of where I'm at here today with you.
Great. How did you come to run for the office? What was your major motivation to put your foot into the water here?
There was actually a lot. There wasn't just one thing, but the core thing for me was uh, when I found out my dad had cancer. He had colon cancer, and we were dealing with all the family emotionals that go through that, which helped with my experience for healthcare. But going through that experience, you get busy in life and doing things, and my next door neighbor had put in a big, huge business out west, and there was a gun range facility and just a sporting complex. And after dealing with my dad, I went into the county and said, "What's going on here?" I mean, it was just this massive a business in our neighborhood. And I had to go in, learn about policies, procedures, and it was my beginning of speaking up for yourself and learning about big businesses and policies and how to do anything. So it was my first experience in realizing there's no guidelines for it. It's just something that you had to learn, and that led me to here today.
Well, we're glad that you are. When you think about our district, what are the most important topics, problems, or whatever that you think we face here in the North County?
For me, right now, the one
Yeah.
thing that's impacting me the most is the coronavirus. My husband is a Palm Beach County Fire Rescue employee, so he sees it daily. Every time he's on his shift, we experience the procedures, the urgency, all of it, the financial part of it, and I think it impacts all of us. It impacts the economy, and it impacts our future. It impacts how our government is interacting with us as residents. And I think that to me is the, the most important thing that we have to work on and face.
But besides Corona, which just came to us 4 months ago, do you think there's other issues up here that you would like to address?
I do. Here in Martin County and also in North County, we do have the environmental issues. Lake Okeechobee is like the heart of the environmental movement, and if we don't take care of Lake Okeechobee, we the environment isn't going to make it for the all the oh goodness, I'm going, all of the allergy that is infecting the waters, and how government has to work on the water storage. So when we have the a large amount of rainfall that we have, the water runoff, and how we deal with it, and procedures in place in dealing with all the different governmental agencies, the Army Corps of Engineers and the federal government with the money and the laws that we have in place, and to get all the agencies working together so that we can better our community.
Thinking about what's gone on for the last 4 years, 6 years, can you think of the most horrible rulings or rules or laws that were passed in Tallahassee that have affected us so negatively?
For me, the one thing that really comes to mind is the discrimination that they just passed, actually, for the LGBT community. And I don't think it's just necessarily for just that specific group. I think it relates to how they treat policymakers treat all people. And it's just so unfair that somebody can be discriminated by just a style or a personality being. As a mom, it just tears my heart apart to think that policymakers can do that.
Quite amazing at this time. Are there any other issues, such as that last abortion with the parents? What do you think of that?
Again, as a mom, it just wrenched my heart. I understand why they want to have parent consent, but again, there's so many issues that happen that children they need to be able to understand that responsibility bears with themselves, and we're asking the community to wear masks for public safety. And everybody is protesting, saying they don't want to be told what to do. So for me, the guidelines of where is the line? They're saying that children can't make decisions for themselves, but then we have people protesting that they don't want to wear masks because of guidelines to protect everybody. So at what part are government going to control how we do things and way we live? So they want to put in all these regulations and not letting everybody be able to make decisions for themselves, and getting back to being part of a community, to taking responsibility for our decisions. They're saying that we can't do that. They have to be able to have that done for us. So I think if we get as a community, having a community make decisions for all of us as a whole individually, and not as government.
Yeah, right. So now we're in the middle of the coronavirus crisis in Florida. I mean, seriously, at crisis levels now. What do you feel we have to do with the schools, with the mandates, with employment? Do you have some ideas you could share with us going forward? If you were in Tallahassee, what would you be advocating for?
For me, I think what's important is having guidelines for everybody. It seems like everybody's in a big hurry to just do something, but nobody has any idea. And I know I was just talking about them telling us how the parents have to control everything for the kids. But the government is not giving us guidelines as to opening up the schools. So it's like they want to leave us to try to figure it out on our own. If I was in Tallahassee, I think the virus is spread by touching and being close. So I think the cleaning and the protecting is vital. If the kids are going to, if they decide that's exactly what they want to do, they need to work on how do we keep the schools clean? How do we keep the kids separated? The study shows that distancing is what helps, and the mask. So it would be guidelines and the money that goes for all of this, just the PPE for the essential workers, and putting people back to work when we're ready, and putting people back to work sooner than we are ready seems to be going in a negative direction right now. So I think policies working together across party aisle just to help at least figure out exactly what's best for all instead of just for one group.
How, since we are a majority Republican district, how do you feel you can get your message apart? Like, what does it mean to you to be a Democrat and still get Republicans or non-party affiliated people to vote for you? How can you do that?
Now, what I've realized in the community, talking to everybody, and even though we're social distancing, we're still going out and meeting when we go out and get our essential supplies. What everybody is telling me that I'm learning that we all have the same goals. We all want the same things. What it seems like to me, if everybody is busy trying to tell everybody else how the right way to go and the right way to be, but I'm realizing that everybody wants the same things. It's just how one side thinks that this is the only way to be, and this other side thinks it's the only way to be. But we are all surviving and flourishing with our existing ideology. So I don't think we're that far apart. I think the topics may be a little different. One families might be looking at immigration, and another family is looking at healthcare. But we are all in this together. We want the same things. It's just finding out which topics are important to each family and working together as a community to make a difference.
I once heard you speak about being a horsewoman and how that you thought that would help you to be a good politician or a good legislator. Could you just talk about that for a second?
What I learned in being around horses is they're very powerful animals. And when they get afraid, they take all that power and run with it. So it made me as a person to realize that the big corporations have all this power, and we have to learn how to come to terms with all that power. And I had to learn to stay safe. One was with being with the animals, you have to learn to stay safe and respectful. So when you're dealing with big corporations, we want to stay safe and we want to be respectful. But also we also want to be who we are and know that we know what's best for us. We don't want all these policymakers telling us how we're supposed to be, and that is part of being an American, and that's what made us whole. For me, dealing with the animal, that you have to learn to communicate with them, to communicate in a language that they understand. And when you're dealing with big corporations, they have a certain way that they want to deal with legislation and how it needs to be, but they're not thinking about us little guys and how it's going to affect us. So what I want to bring to Tallahassee is an understanding that just because we may not actually fit into their policy, we still have to exist. And how is it going to be inclusive? Because the horse doesn't speak English, but they do feel, and they are who they are, an individual. They're a life that has importance, and they know they have survived. So for me, it is learning how to just communicate with big policies, with all of that power, understanding the system, and not to be forgotten out here, because we all want the same thing.
Wow. That sounds really good. I think if we could make that work. So my last question to you is, how can we help you? How do you feel like Democrats in this Republican area could be of help to you?
For me right now, what I want to do is I need volunteers. We do need it costs money to run a campaign. To do any business, you need money, and I could use some support if it's just volunteering, if it's financial support, if it's just passing out. We're going to get a campaign together where we're going to put some door knockers. We're going to go around the community and just get pamphlets and put it on some doors. and we need some volunteers who are willing to do some legwork at that end. And we need to get communication with some of the real estate companies who have homeowners association. I'd like to get N to talk to homeowners and let them know what we are and what we are about. Um, I know we're not doing as much social activities that we used to go to the communities, but we do need to get into the newsletters about each community. I think the commission meetings, we need to get our information out, and as much as we can. So anybody that has any involvement in organizations, things like horse clubs, we've got the kids clubs, all these entities. So we're reaching out to all the leaders in the community, how small or how large, just to let them know that we are here. So anybody in the area who has just a desire to help get the message out, we are welcoming them.
Wow, that sounds very good, and I hope we can be a help to you. I'd love to see you in Tallahassee, Elisa Ackerly. That would be the best thing that could happen to the 82nd. Thank you so much for doing this interview with us. Good luck.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.